Good day, Molweni, Dumelang, Sanibonani, Absheni. Hi, Genan. Genan. Bongabikho nje 1 second. Aniko. Hi, Ongama. Molweni, guys. Welcome to today's edition of Social Media Takeover Fridays, hosted by Walter Sisulu University and, of course, me, Andy Mafunda. Today, we have a very interesting someone, a psychologist, Miss Akhona Ketwa. I see she's already here on the platform, but before I invite her to join us, let me remind you that applications for 2025 are still open, so please apply, as well as whether if you have anything that you'd like to share with Akhona okanye ukhalula ukuyibuza kuye, please ask on the comment section as the conversation is happening. Ningalindi diphele akazubakho Akhona uxakekile uneengxaki zethu uyodishana neengxaki zethu kulaa ndawo akuyo. All right, let us add Miss Ketwa. Okay. Hello! Danny.
I'm good. How are you, Andy?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome to Social Media Takeover Friday.
Thank you.
Ingathu seDubai. Oh, pieces.
Hayi, ndiseGarankuwa ePitoli, please.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to get. I was on my way from East London. That's why I'm a little bit late.
Okay.
And on the way, they were like, "Andy, ungalibali, Akhona namhlanje." Ndithi ngubani Akhona? Kuthiwa your guest. Kuthiwa your guest. So I think a lot of people are looking forward to our conversation today. So let me welcome you and get this show on the road. Ndibuze, who are you? Ongubani?
Okay, so basically ndingu-Akhona Ketwa, umanxuba owashoda umuntu omlambo ubodla inyama usikhoma. I am a registered counselor by profession, but I'm currently trained as a clinical psychologist. So I'm a mother to a 12-year-old beautiful daughter. I am a social media fanatic, but I'm cool Instagram. Hi, besties. You guys. Yeah, I love gym. I love sports a lot. I aspire to be a triathlete. I cycle, I swim. I used to run before my injury, but into yonke, I believe in taking a holistic care of myself. I am family orientated. Like the all-rounder. But professionally, because that's what people are interested in, I'm a registered counselor. I have my master's in research, which I obtained also up at WSU. My Bachelor of Psychology. I'm currently affiliated with Health Sciences University as a training clinical psychologist.
Oh, nice. Why did you choose to study EWUS?
Because wow, and also I believe also if you can see a link between the university that I had chosen for my specialization and also WSU ndiyayithanda into enobulali phakathi because nami ndingwaselalini, and also my aim as a clinician is to be able to intervene with rural-based communities. So WSU, because it's a rural-based institution and also it's closer to home, so yona ndiye ndafumana ndilinka nayo, and because of many things, man, like
okay. All right. What sparked your interest with psychology and how has your journey evolved?
So my journey is quite personal, which is something that I'm willing to share in this platform because I'm proud of it. So now I grew up from an environment where I had umama that suffered from an undiagnosed mental illness. So from the society's perspective, But now that I have the insight and information, my mom is currently suffering from bipolar mood disorder with psychotic features. So I think for me growing up, I always wanted to understand what is going on kumama, because you could see mood yakhe yatshintsha ngenyimini ufuna ukukhulula impahla, ngenyimini uyabekela, ngenyimini usuka abantu. But basically, when I started, because I was still young, I did not have any information about psychology. Because in our societies, there's lack of information when it comes to the field. So I actually wanted to do alone. Okay? So I figure it's social work, because it's a field everyone wants. And then social sciences when I started, because during my time, that is in 2010, you would do social sciences first year, and then second year changed to psychology. So when I was doing social sciences, because it was an umbrella that had all the subfields within psychology, and then I developed an interest within psychology because it offered me better understanding how my. So for me, it's personal, because I grew up in an environment where I had to experience mental illnesses, but with the lack of understanding and information.
So yeah, change again with perspective from social work to psychology, because it probably made more sense to study psychology than social work.
Yes.
I see. And then you are now at WSU. Usi student. Ndiyayazi ke lala losuka kuyo. How was the transition? Usuka ekhaya, having experienced whatever you experienced at home, now you're at WSU. How was that transition?
Or as in SMU?
No. From home, after matric, from home, you are now a student at WSU. How was that transition from home to university?
Oh, okay. For me, it was quite challenging, yet inspirational in a way, because I learned to be independent, and I also learned to do things on my own. It's quite a beautiful university. You meet with people whom you can connect with. You make friends. You meet with people whom you actually call friends later on. I have a friend that has from WSU, and it's a family. We are saying 12 years later, we are still maintaining this relationship. However, institution is its own, because it has a lot of support services for us. So it was easy for me to adjust. And also when they are holidays, it's easier for me to go home. So there was that movement in between, which was not challenging for me.
And how did your undergrad experience at WSU shape your understanding in human behavior in general?
Oh, okay. I think because EWSU emphasizes the philosophy of Ubuntu, you can go to your office and then a person would respond. If they can't really assist you in that, they always refer you. So for me, sometimes when someone comes into your office, they're coming with the impact. Either they are frustrated, stressed, and lost, and they're from different areas within the Eastern Cape region. So for you to be able to help others with information is very important. So sometimes we'd walk around and you find people looking for the office in the SRC. You need to be kind and compassionate towards others and actually be willing to help, which was something that is also emphasized in our field, that you need to be able to help others, because cities siyahamba nemithwalo.
Siyagoba. And that's probably from a social aspect, maybe from an academic perspective. How did your journey here prepare you for your career, Mhlawumbi, or even furthering of your studies at SMU?
Okay, so when I started with my BSAC, I did not see myself training as a clinical psychologist, because it's quite a competitive field. It's not easy to get in. So now I was comfortable with just being a registered counselor. But there's something that I didn't mention. So after graduating, I actually became part of the WUSU community as an employee. So it was beautiful for me to see, but you have to develop yourself, because WSU is one of the institutions that actually cater for professional development. They support you in more ways than one. So I'd be like, okay, how can I better myself in this field? So I started by doing my master's in research. After doing them, I said, this is not enough. I did something else. So I think the institution itself actually mobilizes you in terms of the better person. And also working with professors, psychologists in the field, you always aspire to be a better person. And also knowing that as a registered counselor, you are limited in terms of your scope. I think that alone is a motivation for me.
And I know a lot of people don't understand what a psychologist is. As a psychologist, we don't even understand. So what are some of the misconceptions about psychology that you have encountered?
Okay, Landuba, we can read people's minds. Guys, I still have a capacity to do so. And that sometimes people come into our offices and they want injections and medications. Guys, we work differently. We talk, which is something that people understand, especially considering the male side of our population, especially Africans. Amadoda about their emotions, which is something that is also developing as amaxesha ehamba. But initially, so those are challenges with experience.
Okay,
But
that also understand the
yes.
Omnye
wabuza kuma ubutshatile na uzounderstand njani ngomtshato ungatshatanga. So those are the things.
I also wanted to ask, what is the distinction between a counselor and a psychologist? Intoni umahluko? Ngomphi lo ufika uhlale esofeni ungqengqe athi omnye yintoni ingxaki yakho uthethe.
Okay, ngiqale ndilungise le ndawo ye-counselor, guys. Ngiyathanda xa singoceba, registered counselor, the spelling is different. So.
Yes. And you know, yes. And you know S?
Yes, so as a registered counselor, you're more or less similar, but as a specialist in the field, you're more specialized. For example, there are certain things that as a registered counselor you can do. You can do is like basic psychoeducation, you can conduct supportive therapy, but as a clinician, you are able to tap into deeper and you work hand in hand with other professionals. As much as a registered counselor, you can also work hand in hand. But now you are able to come up with actually a possible diagnosis for a patient, working hand in hand with psychiatrists, whereas as a registered counselor, you always have to refer to a psychologist because you're limited in terms of your scope. And also in terms of the assessment tools that we use as registered counselor, we are limited. There are certain psychological tests that we cannot use. So I always make this example, which is quite understandable. A clinical associate and a doctor, you always have to report to someone else.
Sure. So siza kwexa sinengxaki Akhona.
Yes. Now ndinengxaki zam because one thing endicinga uba sinazo thina as psychologists in training uba problems. No problems, guys. Siyafana nani, which is why we also have our own psychologists.
Oh, I see. That's actually where I was going to. But okay. So thina sizothetha ingxaki zethu kuwe wena uzithetha kubani?
In fact, as a clinician, you have your own. You go for therapy.
Okay. I hear you. And so now you are a student at WSU. Uyagowa ufana nabanye abantwana abagowayo, you're enjoying your studies nonetheless. Do you have that one lecturer or that one mentor who really had an impact in your life, and how did they impact your life?
Oh, this is quite sensitive. May her soul rest in peace. We just lost her. We buried her last week. She believed in me when no one believed in me. She was like a mother to me. She was but she is that person. Together with me, of course, but Miss Khulumeni took the cup.
Yeah. Kukhona umuntu othi apha ubhesti bethuna. Can you describe your career path since graduating with your Bachelor of Psychology at WSU?
Okay. Overwhelming. I deal with emotions. Overwhelming, frustrating, confusing, and enjoyable at times, but mostly if you're into your own inner conflicts. If you are not confident, you are, because in the process you're gonna lose yourself. In the process you're gonna feel inadequate. In the process you're gonna be challenged. But I think what comes back to me is that I have made it to where I am today, meaning that I do have the capacity to go forward. But whenever I feel like I lack in that particular field, I reach out for help, which is something as is learning. If I'm 9:30, so it has been like that.
So you think that spirit of Ubuntu as one of the university values really is being practiced, and you experienced it yourself?
Yes.
I
am there for because where I am today without abanye abantu.
There's a Yamkela Mfuno who says, personally, nguwe, Miss Ketwa, and I always looked forward to to your outfits. What's this thing about outfits? I
think I was dressing in a manner that they can respect me because I was feeling like this. So I'm like, I can explain more.
Someone says they met you on Upumlani Malasha says they met you on Instagram. You're such a beautiful soul. Because I know you on a personal level. So
conflict of interest.
You know, conflict of interest. So, as a psychologist, what is your most treasured part working as a psychologist?
Okay, I can say I'm still in training.
Sure.
So I go to the hospitals as part of the practicum. I think having what I grew up, not understand, coming to real picture, also have a name to it. Understanding the complexity of the mental illness, the impact of patient, the impact of adjusting. It made me understand my mom more. Whereas before, I was yearning and longing for a relationship of a mother, whereas my mother did not have capacity to mother me. So it's quite beautiful because I'm getting a lot of clarity now. I'm getting a lot of understanding.
And compassion, I suppose, as well. Yes. You know, maybe because I think you feel some type of way, and now in retrospect, because you now understand better, you're like, hey, my feelings may have been very difficult towards my mom, but they may have been very hard towards my mom because now you didn't know.
Yes.
Nice. Interesting. So, you are in training and and then you're going to be this person who is impactful in the community. How do you visualize your future as a psychologist, and how do you plan on making a positive impact in not just your immediate community but in society in general?
Okay, I think for me, my aim, as much as I'm here, but I really want to go back. I think it's something that I had decided, even when I was applying, I want to go back to the Eastern Cape because in the Eastern Cape, there's a shortage of clinical psychologists. So my impact lies around serving my community, and my community involves WSU because I'm part of the community. So yes, I'm going back to teach, and also in the department, the clinical psychology also. So the information that I will be sharing will be through teaching learning, but of course I will have plans of opening my own practice in the near future, but my immediate plan is to go back to WSU because I believe that at WSU I am today because
so now for someone who's probably listening at home or as a family member ommameleleyo, how are you psychologist after that?
Okay, I think it depends your interest in individual. For example, you can work in a hospital, you can work in NGO, you can work in academia, which is interesting. I'll be going to the academia, teach, and learn, but then again, I involved different community engagement programs as a registered counselor. So you work in multiple, depending on your interest as a person. You can just open practice and practice. I mean, after you're fully qualified, you can do whatever that aligns as a person.
There's Ayola who says, role model, Miss Ketwa, I'm everything that I am today because I look up to you. You are such an inspiration. I feel like reunion yako na WSU le namhlanje. Sibaplagile babantu, sibaplagile. What would you say are skills that one needs to have to consider not just a qualification but a career in psychology?
First and foremost, you need to treat yourself with the same compassion and kindness that you put to your patient. Because as a person now, with your own trauma, with your own impact, with your own issues, and you look yourself in the mirror and say, am I enough? Am I adequate? Because the program itself challenges you at how it's structured. Because even coming in, there's a lot of competition, but most important, those who have been rejected, those who still want to apply, to those who have future plans to apply, it is not easy to get in. Irritation does that you adequate, rejections need direction. Keep on applying in yourself. Now I applied. Other year I wasn't taken. I keep on applying because I believed in myself, and I believe that you have the capacity and the capabilities to actually be a clinical psychologist.
So now you are where you are furthering your studies. I suppose because it's a professional qualification, you are training on the job, right?
Not really.
What are some of the challenging things that you've experienced as part of your training?
Sana is seeing yourself in a patient, which is something that is like if you have issues that you have assigns you to a patient. So sometimes it becomes difficult because these are diamonds or conflicts you are not ready to face, but that is one of, and also seeing history repeating itself in terms of me having experience I had to experience as a child in my patients, especially in a psychiatric unit. But it's beautiful to see because it's providing me with more insight and understanding. So I can say alone is not easy, but challenging to me, but at the same time informative.
Yay, and then ke ngoku siyakustalk apha ku-Instagram, ne? And we're like, hey, hi, guys, sisatya ilunch no Akhona snack bar, and all along she's planning big things there by Instagram. Now we see how active you are on Instagram and how you're using that platform to educate about mental wellness, mental health. I think maybe, as you've said, it also emanates from your own personal experiences, growing up with a mom who was misunderstood, really, in the community. Do you follow the advice that you give to people on that platform?
I always do. Andy, I would love to believe I am the most authentic person that you've ever met. But you are exactly what we like. And hi besties, guys, you know me, you see me. I post a lot. I'm very active. I would post my fitness journey. I would post about my injury. I can be vulnerable there. I can be who I want to be. And funny enough, people actually followed me without me having the aim. Someone said, I post a lot. You are very. How about you convert this into being a content creator? And I started receiving followers. Everything happened this year, to be honest, and I thank God for that. Also thank the people that devote their time to data to actually follow me, because we don't take that for granted. I always thank them. So I think for me, being authentic and being who I am.
Yeah. And how do you find that now when people meet you on the streets, they expect Misa and be like, and do you get that when you meet people?
Sometimes the issue that I have, I don't get that. When I meet my besties, I always meet them where I find them. I wouldn't recognize them, but they would recognize me. They say hi, and then immediately when you say hi, bestie, I'll be hi, but nice to see you. You short. Or the only comment that they give me is that you short in passing. Also because I also from my people are treated so I'm that wonderful. So I get them. Like,
no, I get that. We have students, as is our Bala metric. I think next week they're actually starting their exams, their final year exams. What do you say to someone metric who is preparing for exams and is probably suffering from anxiety? And that's the reality. Anxiety is real, and anxiety is what could possibly stand between you and getting that bachelor pass, right? So what do you say to that person to try and prepare them for the upcoming final exams?
Okay, first and foremost, I'd like to validate them for feeling anxious. So it is normal to feel anxious, especially in anxiety provoking situations. I am anxious as we speak, but I have ways in which I ground myself. I am still anxious when I present. As much as I have background in teaching and learning, but I still have anxiety. So anxiety is a normal response to any anxiety-provoked situation. So what I can do is that if you feel anxious, have ways in which you can actually ground yourself. So normally this is what I do this side works for me whenever I'm presenting, and then I'll move like this. But also if you have access to psychological services, go like a WSU, there's a counseling unit. You can go there and speak about your exam, but that's for university students. We are speaking in of e-matric, so there's barely services in high, but go for social support. You have your family, you have your friends, speak about anxiety, normalize it, because what we do Africans is that we tend not to share how we really feel. And then the other person will actually, in terms of how you can actually mobilize yourself in that space, but be part of the journey. And also good luck, believe in yourself, because you are actually one step ahead to your dream. And also to those who are currently lacking in some subject, please reach out. Support is very important. If you know, and if none technology, yeah man, there's best friend and alum to pass criminology. If you cannot pass sociology, there's best friend and alum pass sociology, because I wanted that support. I knew that support would mobilize me in that situation so that we can learn together.
Yeah. So how important, I mean, you're touching on something very important. Uba sufa wedwa abantu bakhona ukukunceda. How important is it for someone to have, I know sometimes they call them life coaches, right? So how important is it for someone to actually have a professional, okay, maybe not a professional, but that support structure akwaziyo ukuthi xa feel overwhelmed aye kuso noba ngumfundisi noba ngubani. And for those who can afford, how important is it for someone to actually have whether it's a counselor or it's a psychologist at their speed dial?
Honestly, I would say very, very, very important. And but looking at a context whereby we can barely afford Isonka, like he wouldn't afford a professional coach or a psychologist, because a psychologist medical 3 plus minus 800 cash. So in our context, but we do have this. But I emphasize to us as Abantu Abamnyama is that always, or any population, is that please make sure that you share in spaces had and understood, because inzima into yokuba ndize kuwe and share uthi wena hayi that's why wayenza loo nto, you are not hearing me. Either and we live in a society where our friends don't understand the importance of listening to understand, not to respond. Just say be with me, follow me. That is very important. So even if you don't have the capacity to go for, I love the word capacity, even though you don't have the funds to actually pay for the professionals, but have that one friend. For me, growing up, it has been my sisters, and for not Oga, they've been my support system, and we established a relationship where we talk about every voice. I would talk to my sisters about it. So do you see how it has actually mobilized me? And also being congruent to what I feel.
And it's not costing you a single dime.
No.
Yeah. What does your typical day look like in your current training?
So, okay, my typical day looks like I start classes 9 o'clock and we end 4:30. So before that, I start with my active lifestyle. I wake up every day at 6. I either go for a swim or an aerobic class or my cycling, depending on the day. I'm very structured. I plan my days every day. I say Monday to do to Tuesday to do list, but there's no day where I'm just free. If I'm free, I'll try and do something, not sports related. There's Cooper and I solo days. KFC, ice cream. I'm that person. I'm not waiting for someone else to spoil me. I spoil myself. Don't tell this part. Record like guys. I always say,
yes,
I am my own responsibility.
Yeah. So now, okay, this platform is it's like a student recruitment platform where we are hoping that those individuals that the university cannot get to in terms of recruitment would be able to use this platform, bafumane some sort of information about the various offerings that we have at WSU. Now, we probably have someone at home, mhlambi sekempasile umatric, akazazi ukuba makafunde ntoni. How do you encourage that person? Mhlambi ke ngoku from this conversation now, they're considering going into psychology. Uthini kuye laa mntu? How do they better prepare themselves? Because you did say it's a competitive space. How do they better prepare themselves now for that time where they're being called in for an interview, for example?
Okay. First and foremost, I would like to validate that it is normal to be confused, stuck, and not knowing what you want to do as a person. But growing up, you know yourself. There are things that you can actually do as a person. So I had chosen this career because I talk a lot. It involves talking. So you need to look at your strengths and weaknesses as a person and see if you are not good in numbers, because we have people that say, I want medicine, or just max physics level 1. So please be realistic when you set your goals. Make sure that these are goals that you have the strength to actually achieve them. Don't be too ambitious. Look at things that you like. Yes, ambition is good, but don't be too ambitious, because too ambitious. Because also the university has admission requirements. So because we all have access to our phones, the fact that you are here now joining, meaning you have access, just go through all the qualifications that WSU is offering, and then look at your marks and compare them with whatever requirements that are there, and actually do the course. And also know that it is normal when you start a course, you then fall out of love with it. Please finish it and see what else you can do. That's I'm hoping I have answered you.
Anyway, and for those who are probably doing their final year bazobhala exams final year BPsych students, what's in store for them in the workplace?
Okay, before the workplace, they still need to write their board exam. They can follow me on Instagram. I always offer support to abantu abazobhala board exam in terms of preparation, how they can actually sum out the information because the documents are too large, which is something that I've been doing for years, and I've been receiving like sort of a positive feedback. Just that we don't post about everything. There are things that we do on the side, but we never really mention them. So if you are that student, you are feeling stuck, you want to prepare for your board exam, please follow me. Please DM me. As much as I'm busy, but I always make time to respond to DMs. So e-work environment for now, it won't be difficult. It won't be easy to get a job for them up until they are registered with the Health Professions Council. So now, besties, let's prepare for the exam. And then after the exam, you can start looking at different job opportunities.
What are some of the preparation techniques they can use to better prepare themselves for these exams for undergrad? I'm sure nabikho into abayifundele obviously eklasini, but when you've walked the journey already.
Okay, so one, stick to what the lecturer is saying. Our lecturers are not full of tricks. There are those
scope, scope.
Yes, there are those that give you scope, but for those that are not giving scope, please read everything, because some things are surprising in an exam room, but they are actually doable exams. It's gonna be things that you had learned in class, and into enter. And sometimes there will be a case study where you'll be required to analyze the case study and give answers based on the case study. So I was told that when you read a case study, each and everything, even the I am, is very important. So you need to analyze each and everything that is given to you. They already know, they've been tested throughout the year. The fact that they are going in for the exam, it means that they do have the DPs, but they need to continue with whatever that they've been doing. Also, I cannot be saying I will prepare you guys for exam. I don't have time. I'm also writing exams November, but please make sure that you reach out for help. Study in groups, because having to study with others actually helps you, because we have different types of memory. So even if you don't remember, but you would remember, oh, and the best man go and then the information will come back.
Sure. Okay, so I feel like because Katile, you didn't really tell us what your typical day looks like.
Okay, let me start by today so that you can have a clear picture. So I'm starting was 6 to 7. I make coffee. 8 to 9 I was driving to the gym, and then 8 to 9 I had my gym session, and then 9 to 12 o'clock I had my online class.
Okay.
psychological assessment, and then after this I'm going to meet up with a friend. So because it's Friday, it's lighter, our classes end at 12, and we're not having any hospital, we're not having any assignment due, so it's quite chilled. But in a very, very hectic day, I would be in class from 9 to 4:30. I'll drive from Karankuwa to the gym. 5 to 7 I do gym. I always say to my sisters, even if umama uyafa, yabona umama ndimthanda great, but ngela xesha le gym, guys, please don't call me after. That's how important gym is to me.
Yes, and just on that note, the university is hosting a marathon this coming weekend, right? Raising funds for debt clearance. And one of the things that I was asking the person who's spokesperson, work convocation, about why marathon, and they said, you know what, exercise is just as good for wellness. So for you, exercise is part of your lifestyle, right? How have you seen it impacting your life? Especially when you say, if umama kuthiwa uyafa, ndilindeni, not that you are valuing your mom any less, but how do you find that it balances your life? Maybe just to also help someone who could be suffering or kind of struggling with themselves, with their feelings. How do you find that exercise, including exercise in your daily routine, is helpful for you mentally, and how you cope with life in general?
Okay, I think me being active comes from taking a holistic care of myself, and I go to therapy for my mental health. I eat to take care of this beautiful body, and also exercise contributes to my mental well-being. So for me, I always say, I can give this analogy to people, that there are different classes that you can go to when it comes to gym. We have box, we have high-low, we have step, we have strength, conditioning, we have swimming. So for me, I always categorize it, because gym is a safe space for me. That's where I am safe. I can do whatever. I can work out and cry. And people, because I'm sweating and stuff, but I feel so safe at the gym, and that has been a coping mechanism for me. So I use gym as a coping mechanism. Gym doesn't take away my stresses, but I feel better whenever I'm punching. Box classes, it feels like I'm punching my problems, and then when I'm doing high-low, it's like I'm dancing to my problems, or whatever that I've achieved. And then for me, cycling teaches me patience, resilience. It teaches me to be focused and grounded, because I need to focus on the wheel. If I do anything, I fall. And then andazi man, like ingaphela imini ngicacisa ngejim, ijim, yo Jesus, la.
You like toxic relationship.
Bruh. Yeah, and ground, and funny enough, people are saying that they can't really go to the gym because they're very busy. For me, to shift, and I would be having a hectic day, concentrating. So I'll have to go to the gym first in order for me to be able to do my assignments at night, because I'm very active after gym.
Okay. What are some of the subjects, mhlambe umuntu who's in grade 10, mhlambe okanye grade 9, who is considering psychology as a career path? Zeziphi subjects umuntu fanele abe nazo to be able to qualify for a Bachelor of Psychology?
So, Andy, honestly, I didn't do my homework when it comes to that, because the program has been recalculated from when I was doing it. Remember, I started from social sciences, B-Psych, and then HPCSA visits us every 5 years. So there's been changes. However, I would recommend abantu bahambe baye admission requirements. And then they would see what is required of them in terms of the subjects. But currently, based on the 2025 academic year, I'm really not invested in it. I'm so sorry.
Kodwa ke, bottom line is
Makufundwe, guys, makufundwe, please. Yo, makufundwe.
Looking back, Eiko, what do you appreciate most about your time at WSU? First as a student, and then later as an employee.
First, as a student, the Ubuntu, have to go to offices and upenduleke kakuhle, and then you'll be referred somewhere. and also the community itself, the manner in which we actually assist each other. You cannot believe resting as panukutya. If someone doesn't have accommodation. So for me, that has grounded me in terms of sometimes we have to share. Sharing is caring. And then as an employee, I always treated my students with the same compassion and kindness that was actually done to me, or it was showed to me. So if students, they know, if you come to my office, if I cannot help you, I'll start by containing you to say, okay, this is what we can do. Some of them work with them to actually seek for. Some of them I'll refer them to other people, but for Nanalandi to and EWSU is actually emphasized that and develop that within me. And the support that the institution is giving you is heaven on earth, guys. If you are not an active person, you have to be active at WSU, but they can fund whatever that you want, as long as you have to emphasize or explain to them as to why you are doing it and how is it going to contribute the institution.
Sure. And now you've had the best of both worlds. You've been a student, and now you're a student, but I mean you are working. What are some of the challenges ozifaceleyo that you feel, yes, if I did not have this experience at WSU, I wouldn't have been able to cope?
Okay. Some of the challenges was the disrespect that I got sometimes from students. Sorry, students, and I won't mention names. But, Andy, abantwana bazofike abafana becela usinxaso, becela umjolo, as long as andozidika ayiyo dala. So they always saw me as yanga yabo, which I did not appreciate. I was always in class when I introduced myself, I'm Miss Ketwa, but I feel like respect is earned. So if you see me acting as Akhona, you can refer to me as Akhona. And funny enough, none of my students ever referred to me as Akhona, which means that it earned the respect. And second, I think also the transition near COVID-19, when we moved from the normal classes to, there were a lot of challenges within our students that they didn't log in, they didn't write tests. And for me, that was frustrating because I was still new in the field. And again, with the support that I was given by UDLT, ICT together, even laptops, so it was easy to maneuver and actually cope with. But that has been the highlight of my.
So we have Okuhle Nkondlwana, who says you're my favorite lecturer ngexesha lam.
Maziko, thank you.
Uyayazi baba kwenza mdala wade athi ngexesha lam.
I say colleague ngoku. And after they write their board exams, they become my colleagues.
In fact. Kodwa ebekade ezocela i-third chance apha kuwe. We have Yanga who says, how I wish everyone can have your personality.
Oh, man, Yanga. Thank you, Yanga.
All right. Singakhange ke si waste much time because you did mention it's a Friday. Hey, guys, Akhona una indlela yokusimanage ne? Because it's a Friday, things are chilled.
But in the
and I'm not sure about Gauteng. The Eastern Cape is rather hot today.
Yeah.
So you know. I've got two things to ask you before we end our conversation. The first one is, what do you say to runners who are running this weekend? Not Glea inkulu race. Kule inkulu kakhulu. Kule inkulu kakhulu yaseWS. Kule inkulu kakhulu. Knowing exactly what it's all about. It's about student debt clearance. What do you say to those in encouraging them? Bazo balega this weekend.
Okay. So first and foremost, it's your own race, your own pace, your own lane. You are running for a purpose. So if as runners, finish, take it easy, and also know that you are running. I think I'm repeating it, for a purpose, and running is quite challenging. If you feel like walking, walk, my dear. I know there's gonna be comments. You don't walk with your running shoes. Walk, mom, that is walk. So I think at my own pace because I do not want to put pressure on myself. So I think apply that. Know why you're running, on pace, on time. Take it easy.
And hopefully we raise all these funds to help all those
Yes.
students who need it.
Yes.
Siyakuchallenge ke, siyachallenge ke bonke abantu abangena apha, siyakuchallenge. Make your mark, make your contribution, because we are not here for a talk show. We must be here to ensure that we have an impactful impact.
Okay.
If there's ever such a thing. We're even encouraging, in fact, all those people who are not going to be running, who are not going to be here, register still, because Galoku, we know next week we are running for a cause, we are running for a purpose, as you've said. So I'm not sure if you have anything to say in encouragement for those alumni who will not necessarily be able to be part of the race, but who can actually make a contribution.
Okay. I think now I'm also guilty because I haven't registered. After this, I'll register, of course, and then I'll share a screenshot on my social media platform to all besties who are managing to register or who have the funds to register. Please, guys, let's register. You can tag me on Instagram. Let's do it for the good cause. Let's do it for the other people that actually want to be in spaces where we occupy today, but do not. Because to be where we are today, we were actually assisted by others. So let's do it, please.
Sure. Any last words to the Wusu community, to your besties, to anyone who could possibly be watching us and would like to hear something from you?
Okay, first and foremost, WSU. Guys, the institution, thank you so much. And also the admin office for actually inviting me. And also to people who have joined, they have advocated their time, their data to actually be here and listen. We thank you guys for your time. And also, guys, I hope that you did enjoy having me. That's it. And good luck to all the matriculants. I feel like good
orientation.
Yes.
Not sure I think she's getting a call. I think she's receiving a call. I can see Ubanangaba, she is muted. Okay, so and Akhona emva koba we had such a great interview. Okay, maybe let me just remove her from the live. But in absentia, we'd like to thank her. We'd like to thank Mangaba so much for joining us today. And Betuna and everyone who has logged in and who's been with us, Kulo Live, we thank you so much for your time. Guys, next week, we are hosting a race to fundraise for a student debt clearance. If you know into Banangaba, you are a friend of the university, you are an alumni of the university, or you, even if you are a friend, even if you've never studied at WSU, but you believe in the cause, please support the initiative. Register, go to our Facebook page, Walter City University. There is a poster there on how to register for the race next week. Even if you're not going to run, of course, we're encouraging that you run because we are promoting a good and balanced lifestyle. So we are saying register, run, but if you are not going to be able to run, please register still, because it is for a worthy cause, guys. We are looking forward to seeing it. Next week, you're actually even going to be seeing people behind the scenes because they won't want to be known as now, technical person behind the scenes. So we're looking forward to seeing you next week. So please register so that we can raise enough funds to help clear student debt at WSU. It's one of the major things where students are not able to get certificates zabo and they are not able to competitively be in the labor market. So it's for a worthy cause, guys. We are trusting you to support this initiative, and we are trusting you to spread the word. Share it, guys, with social platforms, so that a lot of people are aware of the race that the WSU convocation is hosting next week in East London. Zikhona kilometers phayana zobaleka 21, 4 and 1.6. Yes, yes, yes. Please, please, please. Tickets are bought at Sportsman's Warehouse in Beacon Bay and Golden Block Mdantsane. Please, 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 guys. Siyanithemba, and we are trusting that you are going to support. Anyway, from me and Walter Sisulu University, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to Miss Ketwa, who was our guest. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Siyazazi technicalities they happen, so asikwazanga ukutsho in person to you how much we appreciate you spending your hour with us. And yeah, man, and I will not say to her in true WSU form, to infinity and beyond. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you again next week. And then, guesses obviously Konamos East London race. So we'll see you again next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye.